Welcome to my DCC Road Crew Session Prep series. In this series, I'll go over how I prepared for the previous session, go over my encounter creation process, and how the players undoubtedly threw something unexpected at me and how I adjusted. As always, these sessions are based on the Dungeon Crawl Classics game system by Goodman Games, but as all judges know, rule adjustments must be made in real time, so there will be deviations from core rules as necessary, or for fun. Now with that out of the way, welcome to Valtara Session Prep for my Episode 3, The Troll Den. For this Road Crew series, I always make sure I have several world events or encounters prepared. These can be anything from small notice board posts to villager town requests, or simply something the players can stumble upon in the wild. For this week, my players had not made any requests for the upcoming sessions, so I picked one that could fit into the overall story so far. As the party knows, they were sent north to investigate how far-reaching the earthquake was and possibly where or how it originated. Similar parties were sent south, east, and west as well. With the western party arriving back shortly before them, this gave me the opportunity to pick an encounter that would have troubled the southern party and required our group to rescue them. So this is my one-page dungeon, quote-unquote one-page dungeon. What I generally do is I like to use Google Slides or Google Docs, prepare somewhat of a one-page slide of everything I would need to know about an encounter or a world event, and basically set it up to where it's written in a way that it could be system agnostic. It can be used in Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, DCC, and so forth. So you won't see too many things where it has a specific requirement in here, and as always, I make sure that when I do these, I don't really do them with a level or party in mind, so adjustments on the fly are necessary as I go. So for this original one, I had it as kind of an abandoned camp troll attack, something that the party would come across naturally while they're out traversing the world. I have the setup here. The party comes across a small abandoned camp. Looks like it belongs to a small adventuring party or traveling merchant. The bedrolls, 4 are tossed about, and all coals in the campfire still have a slight warmth to them. So I anticipated the party stumbling across this as another group had recently been attacked by trolls. Since I had to adjust slightly here, what I decided to do was have one of the adventuring party escape, make it back to town, and inform the party that the rest of their group had been captured by some kind of beasts. I didn't want to give away too much right away. I wanted the players to be able to roleplay a little bit, so I made sure that they knew that the creatures were stinky, very, very stinky, and had pitch black eyes. Using that information, the party was able to go to a local retired adventurer who was able to inform them that, you know what, that sounds like a troll. They asked for some information on the trolls, and he told them that they regenerate, but fire could help put them down permanently. With that in mind, this is one thing they threw a wrench in my plan that I had no idea that they would do. They decided to go out and buy enough materials to make a bunch of Molotov cocktails, and also make makeshift gas masks by soaking cloth in very fragrant flowers and herbs in order to help defend themselves against that odor. Once they had those materials prepared, they were able to head off and find their way. The adventurer who had made it back gave them enough details on where they were that they were able to find the rough location of the camp without too much trouble. With a couple good rolls on their adventuring, they found the camp fairly easily. They had a couple bad rolls there, so it took them some time to find the trail for the trolls. But what I had set up was that the players can search the area and find a couple ropes tied to the trees that have been snapped with hoof prints around the trees. There are a small bit of blood on the ground at several locations heading into the woods to the west. The players see a large footprint and a bit of soft earth, the troll's footprint. So they were able to find that the area was pretty torn up, so finding the actual trail itself was a bit difficult, but once they found some footprints in the earth, they were able to track those to the troll entrance. I have the troll entrance to the cave. The party can follow tracks left behind by whatever attacked the camp. They see broken branches, footprints, blood, and an occasional coin that must have slipped out of a torn sack, or was something dropping them. The trail leads to the base of a small cliff on the side of a hill. At the base of this cliff, the forest pushing right up against the exposed stone, you see a cave entrance with a makeshift door made from logs and rope. The characters can pick up on the soft smell of rot coming from within the cave. Now here the party had decided that, well, we have the Molotov cocktails, So perhaps someone can go inside and try to lure the trolls out, and we can then attack them with the Molotov cocktail, set fire to them, and hopefully burn them down and take them out. So the party decided to send the halfling and the thief into the cave. Now the thief, being human, didn't have very good eyesight, but the halfling, having at least a bit of dark vision, was able to navigate them inside without too much trouble. They came from Area 1 through Area 2 and into Area 3, where they found a troll that was had recently killed a human being and had been putting him over a roasting fire. Now at this point, the thief decided to prepare his bow. The halfling lit a torch. The thief put his arrow dipped in oil to the torch to light it and shot it at the troll. The troll took the attack, turned, and it began charging. The thief and the halfling began charging back up the stairs. With a very terrible agility check, the halfling trips, drops the torch, and it goes out. So again, the halfling, being able to see, was able to partially make his way up the stairs, but being a halfling, he's not very fast. The thief made a couple good rolls and was able to navigate in the dark to find his way back up towards the light coming in from the entrance. But just before the halfling could make it to Area 2, the troll caught up and slashed across his back, knocking him unconscious. The thief began yelling for assistance, and the party decided one by one to come in and assist. They were able to charge into Area 2, and as they entered into Area 2, threw a couple Molotov cocktails, and with that, the troll backed off away from the fire back down into Area 3. The cleric was able to reach the halfling and heal him back up, so he was able to stand back up. And at this point, the party kind of regathered themselves. Seeing the troll at the base of the first kind of little stairway at the bottom leading into Area 3, they threw a couple more Molotov cocktails, a couple arrow shots, and the troll eventually fled from view. Now you can see here for Area 2, what I had prepared for the party to all go in together, area by area roughly, so I had to kind of mix things up a little bit. So the entrance chamber, entering through the door, the smell of rot stings the character's eyes and nose. The north and east walls of this small dark chamber are piled high with garbage, bones, rotting clothing, a couple small torn sacks, animal scraps, etc. Investigating the garbage causes 1d6 giant rats or a rat swarm to scramble out and attack. There is a tunnel leading down to the west. There is light flickering from the next chamber, and you hear a scream and a crack. So I kind of had to adjust as the halfling and the thief made their way in. I brought that scream and crack forward so they could hear that and know something was going on. That's when they saw that the dead adventurer had been thrown on top of the fire pit. And I also chose to go with the rat swarm, as this is a level 1 party. I felt 1d6 giant rats was a bit difficult for a level 1 party heading into a troll den. It could have been a little bit too detrimental to them. And additionally, investigating the garbage causes them to come out. I waited until they actually found something and removed something from the pile, which happened later on. Alright, with that we moved on to the cooking chamber. As the flames died down in the tunnel leading from Area 2 to Area 3, they all began making their way into the large cooking chamber. As you enter this large chamber, there is a large cooking fire on the west wall, lighting the chamber. Standing next to the fire is a large troll with dark blue skin and large gray patches covering most of his arms, legs, and back. The troll is standing over a motionless body, apparently stripping it of the clothing, preparing to cook it. On the wall next to the troll are several shelves and boxes with assorted cooking utensils, plants, mushrooms, and other assorted foodstuffs. There are 2 more tunnels leading out to the north and northeast. Along the wall, just north of where the party entered, are a couple of crates and barrels with miscellaneous makeshift tools and weapons that are quite large. If combat breaks out in this cavern, a second troll will come from Area 5 to investigate the commotion and join the combat. So here I had the party. They began sneaking around trying to find where the troll had gone. I had the troll escape up into Area 3A, kind of out of view, so based on torchlight and dark vision, they weren't able to see him up there as they were investigating this area. They searched around, found the fire, which I basically had an old cage on top of a fire that they were using as a makeshift grill. They also found all the foodstuffs along the western wall, and eventually began searching up a little further north. Once they had spotted the troll in 3A, they again threw some additional Molotovs and weapons up that way, and were able to finish that troll off. He was already badly damaged from all the fire that he had suffered. At that point, the troll from Area 5 had made their way down the stairs through Area 5A, but with fire being there at that entrance, he wasn't able to make his way out. And the party began fighting their way to kill that troll as well. So for Area 3A, as the party makes their way up the tunnel to the north, they can hear the cries for help from several prisoners coming from behind a large boulder. The boulder is far too heavy for a single character to shift. It will take some creative problem solving for the party to move. Further along this tunnel, there is a gap in the floor, 15 feet across, dropping roughly 20 feet to a small underground body of water, a small creek roughly 5 feet deep. Now, Area 4, the prisoners, we will come back to, as that was the last part of the adventure. But Area 5A, this tunnel leads from Area 3 to Area 5. The floor is solid stone and has been worn smooth from frequent traffic. Halfway up is a loose stone slab under which a swarm of insects. A DC-18 intelligence check for traps to notice. On a failure, the swarm of insects skitters out, attacking all members in the tunnel as they flee. A DC-14 reflex save for 1d4 damage. Now this part, I completely forgot about, so I skipped this part. Even when you prep these things yourself, it is easy to forget little things like this as you are in the middle of an adventure. Area 5, the Troll Sleeping Cavern. This medium cavern has 2 large piles of straw, moss, and scraps of cloth. There are miscellaneous pieces of makeshift jewelry made from boxes next to each makeshift bed. If the party was able to get past Area 3 without combat or alerting the troll here, he is sleeping in this area. The party can hear a loud, deep snoring sound as they approach. Additionally, I had once the party is inside the caves, a DC-12 fort save is required every time they are moving from one area to the next, or the order within the cave is overwhelming, and all checks have a -2 penalty while in that area. Technically, this is like them being poisoned. I gave them kind of a lot of benefits on this one. I lowered the DC fort save, and then when they did fail, generally by the time it would have come into effect, they'd kind of shrugged off the effects. So it gave them benefits for thinking ahead of time, asking the questions to the retired adventurer, and preparing themselves to encounter such a foul smell. Now, once all the trolls had been killed, they made their way back up to 3A and heard the sound of people talking on the far side of this rock. So Area 4, the prisoners behind the large boulder. The party finds a group of 3 other adventurers, a dwarf named Scuff, a warrior named Sir Alistair, and a ranger named Elaine. They are bruised and bloody but stable. They are concerned for their companion Skitter, who the troll had just killed and was preparing to cook. The new party can find the majority of their supplies in the crates next to the southeast entrance. The party is weak but willing to help if the party can resupply them. And lastly, I covered our treasure. How I do my treasure for these one-page dungeons is I'll basically just put one lump sum, here's all the treasure, and as they're going through things, depending on who's finding something or what makes sense, I kind of just spread this treasure out throughout the cavern. As they were searching the area in Area 2, they found some coin, they found mundane weapons, and a couple other items within this area. As they removed those areas, that's when the swarm of rats came out and attacked, and then skittered off out the entrance. For this adventure itself, I had 350 gold pieces, 280 silver pieces, and 400 copper pieces, several mundane and large crude weapons, chain with several skulls attached to it, which I put in the sleeping chamber, a staff with a skull on the end, which I also put in Area 5, the sleeping chamber, some strange mushrooms, which were in the foodstuffs, a strange purple stone that I had them find in a small little alcove just north of where the fire pit was. This being a makeshift kind of iron stone that could help protect them against ranged attacks, and additionally, a +1 short sword. I felt that 350 gold pieces, 280 silver pieces, and 400 copper pieces wasn't bad for a level 1 party of 6 adventurers, so split between them, it's not too much treasure, but enough for them to buy slightly better gear here and there. Now, as they were searching through these things, they requested to find a little bit more things. Hey, can I find any armor? Can I find other things? Well, armor makes sense to be found here if these trolls have been capturing adventurers, but trolls aren't going to be too delicate when taking off the armor. So I had the armor damaged in certain ways, so they had to make a luck check to see if they found. Once they did find something, it was damaged, and they could take it back to town and have it repaired for a substantially smaller cost than buying new armor all on its own. With that, the party was able to rescue the old adventurer, or the southern adventuring party, and get them back to town. I didn't have them roll much for town, as this wasn't too far away. It was only a couple days travel, and the area between here and town wasn't too dangerous. So they were able to make their way back without too much trouble, and begin to spend the money they had just found, as well as one of them was looking for a way to identify what the strange stone was. So with that, our party had made their way in and out of the troll den, and that is how I prepared for this adventure. Additionally, the map I used, I simply searched for a troll den map on Google, found one that I felt was a decent fit, not too many rooms, and then fit my adventure to those rooms. Additionally, the troll image I had, which is the same one here on the session prep main screen, I really just liked and invoked a lot of ideas for me. That kind of stone troll, very gruesome. He looks like he'd be quite stinky, and just invoked a lot of atmosphere for me. So I always try to make sure I have some kind of image to help invoke my ideas, put into my one-page dungeon, and then work from there to see, what else I can come up with. Overall, I felt this was a great adventure, and my party seemed to really enjoy it as well. The players said they had a great time, and I look forward to the next adventure. So thank you for joining me for Valtara Session Prep The Troll Den, and after our next adventure, look forward to my next Session Prep video. Thank you much, and see you next time.